Yes, hello. My name is Matthias Campo. I'm an associate professor of architecture at Taubman College for Architecture and Urban Planning at the University of Michigan, and the director of the ARI Laboratory, the Laboratory for Architecture and Artificial Intelligence at the university. So if you ask me how generative algorithms and generative AI works in the realm of art and architecture, then we have to go back and think a little bit that generative AI is not a completely new invention. There is a history behind it, and it also historically has been used by architects and artists. I can, for example, talk about the famous painting Edmond de Bellamy by the Paris-based group Obvious from 2018 that already used a generative AI tool to do it until the newest iterations that we have seen of generative AI, like Midjourney and other image generators. So they're impacting both architecture and the arts in allowing to expand the possibilities of the artist beyond what we have in our own imagination, but basically expand the ideas, possibilities, and concepts that we are allowed to use now through the use of generative AI. The difference between large language models and generative image models that are trained to create imagery or text, the basic idea behind it is not too different. You just have an enormous amount of data that you provide to a neural network that allows it to perform feature recognition and then allows it to construct images out of that learned features. So conceptually speaking, both things are very similar, no matter if it's language or images. In images, we're primarily working with the pixels in the images. If you have to think about the following, AI primarily works with numbers. So whatever we can transform into numbers, we can use in an artificial neural network. With pixels, that's the RGB values or grayscale values. In language, it's just the letters and sentences. So this allows us basically to perform these generative concepts. They all derived actually from another function. Originally, models were designed to do recognition or to do analysis. But when you start to reverse the flow of information, you go from analysis to generation. And that's what we're seeing currently with all these new tools that are popping up all over the place. The way that these new generative AI tools have impacted art and architecture, I would say that for architecture, it's always a bit too early to tell how it's really impacting the discipline, but we are really registering a higher frequency of calls and questions when I do lectures, for example, or when we publish papers and books about the ways that it will impact the discipline. I have no doubt it will do so because on the one side, similar to the arts, it allows the architect to expand the frame of possibilities. The design space that he's allowed to explore is just much bigger now through the use of AI, and we can go much faster through more enormous amounts of data. So I would say that art and architecture might be a little bit different in the way how they approach their distinctive disciplines, in that architecture has very much a very specific functional task that it has to fulfill, versus arts doesn't necessarily have to do that. So it's much more free in exploring the tool in a more inventive way. Nonetheless, I think that the use of generative AI, what I can see right now is that it's absolutely inspiring architects in terms of thinking beyond what the discipline currently can do and explore spaces that were previously maybe unobtainable to us because it needed so much data to be explored. So in short, what we're seeing right now is actually just the emergence of this use of these new tool sets. We see already possible ways to apply that to large-scale construction and large-scale design ideas. At the same time, it allows us also the architecture discipline to explore the entire history, so to speak, because it has to obtain first, of course, the data of this long history to do something for the future. And I think it's similar for the arts. In the arts, I see many new artists coming up who are basically able to extract this enormous amount of artistic history behind the work of today, and being able to somehow translate that and project that into a possible future artistic tendency.